Hi guys, welcome to my first tutorial here in Lightroom. This is going to be showing you weekly tutorials in how to do different types of photos, and also to demonstrate to you my skills and my workflow doing particular type of photos. Okay, so we've got this architectural type image here. As we can see from the data, it was taken at 1/250th of a second at f11 at ISO 100 using a very wide angle lens. If you're using a Canon like what I have done for all my photos, f11 is what is known to be the sweet spot for an aperture to get a photo very sharp front to back. Okay. And in terms of my workflow, because it's an architectural type photo and I quite like the sky bit above it, what I will be doing is this will become a black and white image. So the first thing that we have to do is, where we have treatment over here, change it from colour straight away to black and white. Okay, so now we do everything in black and white. We don't do it in colour then change it to black and white, or vice versa, because it won't look good. Okay, so the first two things that I always do with photos are in terms of highlights and shadows. With highlights, we bring them all the way down to -100, and then we bring out the shadows, so we do this to +100. With whites and blacks, what we do is, if you've got a normal keyboard, if you hold down the Alt key and click the mouse at the same time, you'll see that a black screen appears. If you move your slider to the right until you start to see white spots, like there, okay, that's obviously going too far, but we sort of need a few little spots like that. That's showing us our white point. Again, same with the blacks. Hold Alt down and the key mouse click as well. This time will appear with a white screen. If it's already white fully, then I would suggest just to leave it, because it's too white anyway. Just leave it like that. For clarity, what I always like to do with an architectural type photo like this one is to give it a maximum impact. So what I always do is clarity, push it all the way up to 100. As we can see, it's improved the look of that building dramatically already. We've only done 5 things to the image so far. What we're going to do is we're going to skip all the way through these. We're going to go down to lens corrections. Okay, now because I've used a wide angle lens for this, what I'll have to do is, the image will be distorted because there's still an actual curve on the lens, and the way we do that is with the tools here: level, vertical, auto and full. So if we level the image, we can see that it does that like that. If we do it vertically like that, we can see that there is different changes that can be made. And I think that what we need to do now is, sometimes the distortions that it will do for you will still be wrong. So what you can do is, if you switch to manual mode, what you can do is you can actually do it yourself. So I think for this one, actually it doesn't need any of that. What you do is, if you just scroll all the way back up again, you click the crop button up here, which is the square with the little lines around it. You need to click to angle, just click on there, and your little down key, your 4 arrow keys, your left arrow key, like that. Again, we can see movement in the image. Now I think that looks better than before, so we're just going to leave it at that for now. Okay, and also in terms of cropping, with this image again, we've got a lot of grass in the foreground, and we might not necessarily want that grass in the foreground, so what we're going to do is actually going to crop about half of that out. Where I'm going to go to is I'm going to go to the top of the pathway on the right hand side, so we're going to do it to about there, just so we've cropped out some of this negative data that's in there that's not wanted. And then also maybe if we just crop out a little bit of the sky, just sort of balance the image, and then we could just widen it out a little bit just to bring out a bit more of the houses as well in these sides of the image. Okay, so after we've done that, what we also do after that is we find a tone curve. I found what I've been doing by going around with my photos is with the separate features, highlights, lights, darks and shadows. Highlights, what I always do is, if you've got a number pad, you can just do this easily. Just click this to 15, plus 15. Okay. Lights, lights, I just do up to plus 5. Then darks down to minus 5, and shadows down to minus 15. Again, it just adds a bit more drama to the image. And if we look up at the top here, top right hand side, we've got a histogram showing us our shadows and our highlights, and as you can see, whatever's in dark blue is our shadows and what's underexposed. And if we go to the other one, which are whatever's in red is our highlights. To get rid of these, what I would suggest is using something here called a radial filter. Okay, what this does is it creates a circle. You should find it and it'll be all zeros like this, all zeroed. What I would do is I would click on both of these so you can see exactly what's underexposed and what's overexposed. It's just a lot easier. And then for this radial filter, what you can do is you can create a circle, put it over the part, and then darken it down or lighten it up where necessary. So I'm going to focus on these 3 chunks of red here to the right hand side of the architecture. I think if you did it to a third of a stop down, so if we just type in minus 0.3 like that, okay, then we just drag it out, we should see the circle appear there. And as we can see, if we just did that, okay, so a lot of the highlights have gone from this part. If you just turn it, take it over, you can see the difference. Just darken it down just to make sure that there's no highlights in this part of the image. What I'm also going to do, just click done off that, so that's registered. If you go back onto it, yeah, this will now create a new radial filter. I'm now going to focus on this bottom right area where there's some shadows. The way to do this is I would do it up a third of a stop. So if we just type in plus 0.3, okay, and we just focus on this tree over here. Again, we'll be able to see, well, it's not as evident as the one we did before, so if we just did our up arrow, we start to see that it's the blue is going, the shadows are being lightened up by this radial filter. It's just a good little tool that I use just to get rid of some of the highlights and to bring out some of the shadows as well. So they're up to 0.8, exposed it up by 0.8. With these other bits as well, I mean, the way you get around that is just if you go to exposure right at the top, this will expose the whole of the photo. Very marginally, I'd say maybe plus 0.2, no further than that. Again, we've got some more highlights coming out here, but again, what we do to counteract that is with the radial filter that we created before, just darken that back down again, and as we see, the highlights are starting to go. Also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little radial filter for this area up here. Oops. Again, just darken it down, and as we can see, just stop when it's necessary. Don't go too far, otherwise you'll just have black spots all over your image and it won't look good at all. Okay, so we're nearly done with this image. The last thing that I will do with this image is sharpening. Now I've only been doing photography for 1.5 years, but I've picked up the skills of Lightroom pretty quickly, and what I would suggest is sharpening the amount. I always triple it to 75, okay, and as we can see, it may not look like it's done much, but it does sharpen your image, and especially with an architectural type image, it does make a difference. Radius, we'll just leave that as 1. Detail, leave it 25. Now masking, this is a very clever tool. Again, like with the white and black points, what we do, click on the mouse, hold down, hold the Alt key, and you see a white screen. Okay, as we move it right, we can see all this black appearing. What that means is whatever's in black is not sharpened. So the whole of the building is sharpened, but the sky remains soft and the clouds remain fluffy. Okay, so you don't have to do it all the way, but just 56 just for this photo. Again, it's going to be different for every single type of photo. I'm just going to turn them off as well, just to show the proper image. And if we zoom in to the photo, just clicking anywhere on it, we can see that that is very detailed, very sharp. There's not a lot of noise in the image as we go around this building here, and as we go up to the sky as well, again there's not a lot of noise in the image. So we just zoom out to full size, and also this is a very good tool if you're using a colour photo. Chromatic aberration, sometimes you get reds and greens if you do some post-production work, for example with the clarity. What this will do will try and remove it the best as possibly can. I always do it on every single photo that I do, but it's a lot rarer on black and white images because you've only got the two colours of black and white. Just very lastly, what I like to do is, in terms of vignetting, what I like to do is I like to create a little black ring around it. It just gives it again something a little bit about the image. For this I always do -10, so we just do -10. Again, we can see just create that little dark circle around the image. And again, just looking at the shadows, we've got a few shadows, but I'm happy with that. I think they don't need to be lightened up any more than they actually do. The highlights, we've got barely none. A little bit on the top side of that building, but that's marginally it. That's my workflow for a black and white photo. Now if we come down to the bottom left here, we can see a rectangle with 2 Y's in it. If you click that, you can see your before and your after views, and as you can see, there is a big difference between the photo before and the photo after. Just the sharpness of it, the clarity of it, and just also the dramaticness of the photo. Just the simple change of a black and white to colour just brings it out that little bit more. So I hope that you have found this tutorial very helpful. If you would like any further assistance at all, I will be posting more videos throughout coming weeks on different types of images. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll also leave my email in the description. Please just email me. Feel free to ask any questions. Also leave comments in the YouTube section below. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it's been very helpful, and I shall see you next week.